What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed episode one, or 1% better.
Yeah.
And let us know how you guys feel about it. We have a new setup today. Um, we're with Sierra Vista Elite Prescott, so that's where we're at today. And we have our banner where we're at in our gym. So I don't know if this setup works better, if you like that, or if the black background like we did work better. Let us know. This table is this way instead of that way.
Yeah.
We're learning. So episode two. We want to get better every episode. 1% better every episode.
There you go.
And we would be amazing in like 100 episodes.
Yeah.
100% better. Yeah. So, anyways. Um, we're going to talk about who we are, why we do this, why we want to do this. First off, I'm Coach Gabe, and I started doing competitive cheer. We're NA competitive cheer youth. I started 5 seasons ago. Um, as a parent, my daughter was sideline cheer for a football team. I coached the football team. My wife coached her cheer team, and we got started with a competitive cheer team that came to town. And I was just a parent. I sat back for maybe 4 months every practice. It was open, so we weren't like closed off in a room or nothing, so we can all sit there if we wanted to. And I don't know what happened. I just out of nowhere, um, I started getting like more into it. Like, wow, this is a sport. All this because I'm just used to high school sideline cheer growing up, and I'm like, cheer's a sport. Come on.
Yeah.
So, and I used to coach boxing. I've played every sport. I've done all those things, and so I've never seen the cheer side of it. Um, and when I started watching practices, that's where I met Isinator 3000 for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And we were there, we're just watching, and I got so involved that I like to edit videos. I like to do stuff like that, hype videos, for boxing and football and stuff. So I asked the coach at that time if I can start filming, just practice, and we were going to go to nationals, I believe,
Yeah.
first Jams Nationals, and I wanted to make a hype video for before they went. We had a big
Nice.
party,
A
and it was,
showcase.
yeah,
Yeah.
showcase, and so I set up a video and I recorded, and that's where I got started. Um, and then after that, the Jams Nationals was so good. It was such a good show that I was like, holy cow, what is this new thing I just walked into? And I don't know if my daughter liked it as much as I did. You know what I mean? But I did. And it was amazing. And I'm like, holy cow. And I just wanted to get involved any way I could. And so I just started researching, looking things up. My daughter was a flyer. I was trying to figure out how to get her flexible. There were some tumblers. And I'm like, what is that? What's a back handspring? What's a
Yeah.
walkover? I didn't know any of that stuff. So I'm, trying to figure it out. And one day there's no coaches there, and the head coach was by herself. We're getting ready for a comp, and I noticed at the back of the mat, the stunt groups, they just weren't getting help. It's hard to watch 20 something kids all at once. So I asked her, "You mind if I like correct those kids back there because they don't know where their spacing is?" And I've been to enough
Yeah.
practices that I knew what the routine was. I just listened to everything. I just was like wide open, listening to every little thing. And she let me, and we went to Champions League. That was for
Yeah.
Champions League back in Vegas again at the end of the season. Um, and she let me go backstage, and I just fell in love, and I was filming at the time then again. And then I asked, "Can I coach? Can I help you coach? Can I get involved?" And she said yes, and that's how I got started. And I actually got really involved because of Izzy. She at practice, um, she would ask me things, because everybody else is busy, or she would ask me, hey, what was the counter, what was the grip, or anything like that. And I'm like, I don't know, let me go figure it out. And so we just hooked up like that, and we just started to work together at practices like that to not just help her out, not just to help me learn. It was to help out the team. Like
Yeah.
we right?
Yeah.
We take that information, we go over there and take it to the team, and she'd be like, "Hey guys, we figured it out. These are the
Yeah.
grips. These are the counts." And it just clicked like that. Now a couple seasons later, we hooked up with Sierra Vista Elite,
Yeah.
um, down in Sierra Vista. Coach Christina, Coach Keith. I had a phone call with them. I wanted to, I wanted to do our own cheer team, you know, and so we hooked up with them, and they wanted to franchise with us within a couple phone calls, and I was like, "Are you serious?" And things just started happening so fast, and here we are today, 3 seasons in. We got a couple more months before our third season's over. We're already starting to figure out season four. Um, and we're I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. Are you hooked?
I am.
Yeah, yeah. Izzy's cheer,
Die hard.
diehard cheer, right?
Yes.
Um, and now I coach two teams. I actually have a third team, the midseason team, all at once now. So three separate teams. They're all level one. And then I'm the tumbling coach and
Like coach.
flyer coach. Yep, and strength conditioning coach. Just everything like that. Um, so I'm here half the week. Coach Izzy helps me out a lot with all of that, all the athletes. We learn, we feed off each other, we
Yeah.
kind of, figure it out together. We're learning,
Yes.
5 seasons in, and we still have a lot to learn, but that's what we're here for. And then Coach Christina and Coach Raul come up here from Sierra Vista half a week. They show up on Wednesday and they're here till Saturday after practices, and they go back down there and they have that half the week down there. So
Yep.
they drive back and forth for something hours. Man, I don't know how they do it, but that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. That's who I am. That's where I got started with cheer. And also, I remember I think it was my son. So my son joined, right? Um, and so my daughter and my son cheer. And when my son joined, he wants to tumble. My daughter wanted to fly. She don't care about tumbling, She's like, I want to fly. My son wants to flip. He wants to do all that stuff. He watched practices just like us the first season. After the first season, he's like, "Can I join, Dad?" I'm like, "Really? Yeah."
Yeah.
So that's when I went on Instagram, tried to find out how to tumble, and I came across amazing guy, Coach Lane in his Instagram account, and I'm like, "Who is this guy? This guy is like the god of tumbling. Oh
Yeah.
my god!" And I just researched. I just looked at every single one of his videos, and I'm like, he's so easy to learn off of, right? His the words he says, the way he says it, his philosophy, it just clicked with me, and I used all of those words. I used all of that stuff. Um, I just used it, as much as I could. I actually called him. I did a Zoom meeting when I did get right before I hooked up with Sierra Vista. It was like a couple
I
weeks.
remember you were telling me about that.
Yeah, and I'm like, asking for advice. How do I get started at my own gym? Blah blah blah. It was great. And ever since then, he's been like this mentor to me, and I've learned so much just from his videos, just from talking to him. He texts me, I'll call him. I called him a couple weeks ago about something, and he's there. And with these people that I surrounded myself with, Sierra Vista, Coach Lane, I have become, um, what I thought that would be so hard to become, which is a head coach, running the gym, doing all these things. Holy cow. I thought I could do it, but man, it's going to take some work. So here we are, 3 seasons in.
Know it all.
Half my hair is gray, but I enjoy it. We call it my cheer glitter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my cheer glitter is just showing, you know what I mean? It's like it's coming in, but it's worth it. I don't care. It's worth it. And so yeah, enough about me, Izzy. Um, we're gonna talk about you.
Okay.
Okay, so how'd you get started?
So I was 5 years old and my mom decided to put me in sideline cheer. So that's how I started. And I did sideline cheer for 7 years. And my last year of sideline cheer, we did a competition at the end and we went to jams. And that was like my first competition. And we saw like a lot of teams that were like level 4. So we saw the tumbling. and things like that. And so watching them, I was like, wow, I want to be like them. But I didn't tumble at the time, and we were learning like the basics of stunting. So watching them, I was like, that's really cool because it was like something I've never seen. So that was really awesome. And then we went to nationals, and that was bigger than the first competition in Phoenix. And there was like a show, and it was really cool. And then I was like, oh, this is what I want to stick with. And then when the other program came and competitive cheer started in this town, I was on that team for a few years. Um, then I did competitive cheer for 5 years. This is my fifth year. And so I'm with Sierra Vista Elite now, and things are really good. So I don't know.
What teams are you on?
I'm on Hot Shots and Ignite, which is a level 2 team and level 3 team.
18.
Yes.
18.
Yeah. And then I helped junior coach with Ember and Blaze, which is the level 1 team and the mid-season team. So that's fun. Which that helps a lot, I feel like, with as an athlete because as I'm teaching grips or like teaching little corrections, I'm like, oh, that's what my coach is telling me to do. So now I understand because I can see it. Because sometimes, like, when the coach is, oh, don't move your feet underneath the stunt, but I don't realize that that small movement is what makes like a really big impact. When I'm watching it, then I understand it for myself too. So that's also really helpful. Yeah.
How'd you get started? Like, how'd you feel when you first started tumbling? Because you're a
Mm,
bass in a back spot. You've been a bass in a back spot.
yeah.
And so then how'd you start feeling about tumbling? Like how did
Well, there's a lot of kids that I would see tumble, and I was like, that's really awesome. Like, I want to learn to tumble, but then when I first started tumbling, I didn't really have like the guidance that I needed or anything like that. So I would ask you questions about how to get tumbling or how to start tumbling. You didn't know, so you would research it, answer my questions, and try to help me out with that. And then when he switched programs, I stayed with the other program for a year, so I didn't have that like mentorship or the coaching that I needed for that. And so I would either try to teach myself or I would do private lessons at like another gym, so I could learn to tumble. But that was a long process in itself because I didn't have the coaching I needed. And when I first started tumbling, I was told that like I wasn't capable of doing it. And so I had to overcome the the mental the mental challenge of it because I was always like down on myself because everybody was so down on me. And so that was probably the hardest part because I wasn't confident. And I feel like tumbling is mostly a mental than in comparison to physical because I don't know, if you're physically strong enough to do it, then you're able to do anything you want. I feel like tumbling is mostly a mental game, so I knew that I was physically strong enough to do it, but because I wasn't confident in what I was doing, that took like the longest to overcome. And he would help me through that after I switched programs because he was always there, so I was always at the gym because I wanted my tumbling so bad. And after I got my tumbling, the first time I threw my back handspring, actually, um, I was at the other gym, and then I didn't really have the confidence after the first day that I threw it because people were down on me about it. And I threw it one day, and it took me almost 6 months to get it again. So it was definitely mentally challenging. But then after I got it for the second time, then I was nonstop tumbling, and then I got injured this past summer, and then that was really hard to come back from. But mostly it's like physically challenging now more than it is mentally because like I feel like I'm pretty confident in my tumbling and what I'm doing because I trust that I know what I'm doing because I feel like I know how to tumble and fall safely. I don't feel like I get hurt. Well, I didn't get hurt tumbling. I got hurt jumping, but still, it's always in the back of my mind, so it's a little bit scary, but
yeah, when we get injured, that it triggers our mind to be like, "Uh-oh, hold on,"
yeah.
and puts the brakes on things, and then it's like hard to get it back and hard to, you know, you're there, like you said,
Yeah.
physically strong enough, and at one point, work on your mental part. Then you get that, I can do it. And then your body's like, no, you can't. You're
Yeah.
broken. Yeah. And so now you're
Yeah.
fighting your body when you were
Mhm.
fighting your mind. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
was, yeah. And, yeah, that was challenging to go through as a coach with you also because, what do you do from there? You have to heal.
Yeah.
What do we work on? Upper body strength. What do we work on? You know, just the mental part of learning it, breaking it back down. And I think it helped you when you were helping the other kids, the other athletes learn how to tumble in class.
Yeah.
You started to learn how, you get your hips.
Yeah, the little things.
Yeah, those little things that really matter. And when you break it down instead of just doing it, you worked on that. So I
Yeah.
think that was good for you because if you didn't have it, you didn't have the consistency,
Yeah.
and you didn't have all that, then it would be hard when you did get physically
Yeah.
better. So
I feel like too, because it's like my senior season, so I was like, okay, now I have to get it back because I was like, I don't have another chance. So if I wait and I'm like, oh, well, I don't really want it that bad right now, I can wait it off another season. Like, there's not really that option. So I feel like I really had to push it because I wanted it back. Like, I want to tumble my last year and like be in everything. So I feel like that was part of it too.
and we waited for the doctors.
Yeah.
We worked on other things. But when when they said, okay, it's a little bit better, and you went back, then we started physically tumbling.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff we worked on, and
Yes.
yeah, but it was like, oh,
Lots of drills.
and it's hard because you were, as I want to, like you said, your senior season. So I'm like, I want you to tumble this, like now, like
Yeah.
not for me or not for your other coach, uh,
But you
not
know I
for
want it
that,
so bad.
but because you were on borrowed time for your
Hmm.
season, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to push her. Like, doctor's cleared, let's do a tuck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we've got to get into it somehow. And that was such a
Because
hard.
routines were starting too,
Oh yeah,
like right at the time. So I was like,
yeah,
yikes.
yeah. And you're also basing, and you're
Yes.
and jumping and everything in choreo. So everything's coming together, and we're
On
like,
two teams.
when are we gonna start? Yeah. So it was good for you to go through that. I
Yeah.
watched the whole process. It was good for us to go through that to learn how we deal with an athlete injured. How do we deal with those things? That was good to see.
Yeah.
It sucked, right? But the process of that was awesome to sucks to go have to go through it, but when you're in the moment, it's okay.
Yeah.
And we were going through it and pushing through it as a program, team, coaches, athlete.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. But yeah.
It's good now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And yeah, what else? What else about cheer?
Um, I don't know. I like the environment here. That's good. Yeah. For like, I feel like a lot of kids for like the gym just brings like a family aspect, like a home aspect if they don't have a good family life or home life. So that's nice because like a lot of kids, they don't really have like their chosen family, like their friends, that's who they consider their family. And so like it's good to have good connections here. So that's good.
That's one thing we are here is consistent.
Hmm.
Like we are here. We show up. We're here. We're not gonna, you know, um, call off or make excuses. It's like you come to work and we're here. Like, we're gonna be here. We're gonna push through that whole time. You want some extra help? We're here for extra help. Always there, open ears, open mind. Because like I always say, things change, and
Yes.
athletes change, and environments change, and
Yeah.
moods change. Just so much changing in a single day from one day to the next that I think we do a really good job of consistently
Yeah.
pushing through that and making it work. Um, and I'm always excited when we're here working.
Yeah.
Izzy's
Me too.
always
I'm
here with
always
me.
here.
If the gym's open, Izzy's here. If we got
Yeah.
a private lesson, Izzy's here. If there's a class, Izzy's here.
Yeah.
She's always here, and it's just good because we started this journey together
Yes.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we started separately and met, and we worked together then, and it's just crazy to see how far we've come.
Yeah.
You know?
We've learned so much because we both like even though I cheered for like a long time, I did not know much at all. Like and then once we started like talking more, I asked so many questions and he didn't know the answers, but he'd figure it out and we would learn so much and I feel like the past 3 years specifically, like we've learned so much together. So yeah.
Yeah. And you were one of my biggest inspirations to keep coaching and want to learn because you always had a question.
Yes.
A lot of kids don't ask questions. They
Yeah.
just, they're just like, okay, I'll do it how you said to do it. Doesn't feel right,
Yeah.
and they don't ask a lot of questions. So make sure you guys ask questions to your coaches.
Yes.
Don't hold back asking questions to your coaches because that's what they're there for. And a lot
Hmm.
of the times, like one of my teams, I got 12 athletes. I used to have
Yeah.
13 on that team, and I went from having 7 to 12 the next season. And just those 5 athletes, 6 athletes was like, holy cow, I can't watch everybody.
Yeah.
With like 7 athletes, I was like, oh, this is. But with just 12, I'm like, and then
And that's so big too. So
yeah.
it's like
So you're like, I
it's a
can't
lot
watch
for
everybody.
real.
So those questions are important, and you ask so many questions. And I would go back home and I get on Google, Instagram. I'd ask somebody something,
Yeah.
and I'd figure it out. And I never said anything unless I fully felt like that's what I should have said.
Yeah.
And I didn't just lie. And that's the hardest part. Um, is when they just kind of like, well, this is how you do it, and they don't really know. They just
Yeah.
tell you just to have you get away from them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good because that's the only way you learn.
Yeah.
As a coach, so I'm always open to learn as a coach. Always, I never say I'm the best or I've learned it
Yeah.
all, and oh, I don't need to listen to her or I don't listen to him. Nothing like that because I learn every day. I learn here.
Yeah, I feel
So
like
many
having
crazy kids.
communication is like really good because even when we were doing workouts in the summer and he's like, "Oh, how was this workout?" I was like, "I don't feel that at all." I was like, "What is it supposed to be working?" And either I'm doing it wrong or it's just not working what we thought it was supposed to. And so I'd be like, "Oh, no, this isn't working very well," or a certain drill and he would change it up a little bit or like just find something new and it worked out a lot better, I feel like.
Yeah, like I would, it was like I said, I coached so many different uh sports. I've been an athlete my whole entire life. Wrestling, boxing, football, basketball, baseball, all those things. So I know how to work out. I've
Yeah.
been to the gym. I know how to do workouts, but cheer specific workouts was really hard to get into because I don't want to just work you out if,
Yeah.
to, I know a lot of boxing drills, but you're not going to be punching somebody in the face or moving out of the way from somebody hitting you in the face.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of football drills, but are you tackling anybody? No.
No.
So sometimes you get tackled by your flyer, but it's just the workouts was different too. So it's
Yeah.
not just like me learning tumbling or me. And she was such a good person to go to, like she said, and I'd be like, hey, is this working? Like, this is supposed to work like, your obliques. Do
Yeah.
you feel that?
No,
No.
not at all.
Or she'd be like, yes, I do. I'm like, okay, I'll keep that one.
Yeah. Or I'll like, because I'm an athlete, I hear all the chitter chatter. So it's
Mhm.
like, oh, all of them are saying they don't feel it, or this stretch isn't working, or whatever. And so, like, I would communicate what I'm hearing. So even if I feel it, a lot of people don't. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just weak in my back and everybody else is strong. So do what's better for them, for the majority. So, so I would communicate that too.
Yeah, and that's how we learn, and that's how I think that's how we're successful here.
Yeah.
I believe wholeheartedly that that's why we're so successful at this program. Because Sierra Vista Elite One, down in Sierra Vista, Coach Keith is the same way.
Yeah.
And so when we hooked up, it's like it was weird because they're the same as us, and they do the same, and they talk the same, and they want the same things. And
Yes.
so when we hooked up with them, it was like click and we just went for it. So, I reach out to him during conditioning time during the summer. He tells me these workouts. Hey, I did this. The other day, he tells me, hey, during tumbling class, I know it gets a little stale. I started doing obstacle courses and I have them do those for a little while
Yeah.
too because they kind of get the same old drills and there's so much you can do and try to get inventive and creative. And then we did it the other day and the kids loved it and
They
I'm like,
loved it.
that's
Yeah.
how we learn.
Yeah.
And I just you just got to surround yourself with great people
Yep.
for the sport of cheer. And coming into this sport right away you get hit with negative. There's so much
Yes.
boom in your face. Cheer moms, you know
Other coaches,
other
just teachers,
coaches,
other programs
other
that are just
programs.
like, "Oh, you're better than I am, so now I don't like you." Things
Yeah,
like that.
there
It's
is.
so easy to be like so negative to
Yeah.
each other.
And the cheer industry, just in these 5 years, I've seen and I've heard that, yeah, we need to do something to change that. And there's so many great people that are trying to change that, like Coach
Yes.
Lane and there's Coach Levi and Coach Trey and,
Yeah.
that I see on Instagram and I talk to. There's and Coach Christina and Coach Raul and Coach Keith, Coach Biz. There's all so many people that are trying to change it one team at a time, one athlete at a
Yeah.
time, one class at a time. And so I think that's why we wanted to start the podcast to say that, we're here, new,
Yeah.
you know, 5 years in to cheer. And we want to make a huge difference. So if there's anything that anybody wants to talk about, anything that's going on, good or bad,
Yep.
hit us up, DM us. Instagram, we have TikTok, YouTube. These are going to be on Spotify. You can comment on any of those, and if you can't reach us, get a hold of us, and we're going to figure it out. We want to
Mhm.
change cheer, and it doesn't need to be changed. That's not, cheer's not bad.
Yeah.
There's little things that we want to help improve. So we want to
Yes.
improve cheer for everybody that's involved and make everybody each season at the end of the season say, "Hey, when am I signing up? When's registration for next season?
Yeah.
Let me start thinking about I'm coming back. I'm coming back."
Yes.
What we don't want to do is have kids, athletes say, or parents say, never again are we going to do cheer.
Yep.
Or we need to go somewhere else.
Yep.
And we don't want that for that athlete.
Yes.
They need to have a place of stability, consistency, hard work, work ethic, learn all those things for life lessons that they're going to need when they get older and they're going to need it in their own daily lives, school, their parents, relationships, their own family. And so with when we put all those things together, what we're going to talk about over all these podcasts and all these episodes, when you put all those together, that's what we're really focused on, right?
Yes.
Is that change. And so, if you're an NA coach, even also, see, the one thing is I only know NA. I know it's kind of almost all the same. There's
Mhm.
different rules, there's different rule books, different events, different things you can do. I'm not too much familiar with All Star yet, but cheers, cheers. So if you got a question with
Yep.
tumbling stunts, all that stuff, we're still here. Um, but we're gonna start diving into that all-star world because I know that people are gonna start reaching out.
Yes.
And then I can start learning the all-star world. I'm just not in it yet.
Yes.
But that's our goal, right? Is to get into all that whole community of cheer, and learn. But we're gonna start with NA.
Yep.
So if any coaches out there in the NA that are NA, hit us up. And if you want to talk and you want to be on our podcast and you have a story or
Yep.
something good or bad to talk about and you have a message or whatever it is, let us know. We'll get you on the podcast. We can video in, we can phone call in, whatever we have the equipment to do that. And that's how we want to start branching out
Yep.
um, and yeah, hopefully change somebody's way of thinking about cheer,
Yeah.
or and I want to let everybody know that you can do anything that you put your mind to, because the 1% better works,
Yep.
and it might not happen overnight, and it might not happen in the first season. We have an athlete that came to us the first season. She was her third season this time, level one, and she didn't have a cartwheel. She couldn't do a cartwheel. She had a hard time working on drills and how to do a cartwheel.
Mm.
And for 2 seasons, she didn't have a cartwheel. She finally got it, I think, last season, her second season in a cartwheel.
Yep.
And she kept coming back. And the positivity we put out and the, hey, you can do it, the go get it attitude, we're here for you. She really sucked that in and she said, hey, look, I'm here. I'm going to put in the work. And now she will not leave the gym.
Nope. She's always here.
She's always here. And now she's hyperextension jumps, her
Yes.
toe touch. We saw it in the video from our last comp last night when we went over scores and stuff. I'm like, right? We paused it. And
Yes.
she's like, do you see that? I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Um, she has her level one tumbling. She has her back handsprings, and now she's working her tuck
Yep. She has a
and
punch front.
punch
Like
front. She has an aerial.
she's just understanding so much
Yeah.
now. It
And
it
once
all
it
just
clicked,
clicked.
boom, she got her walkovers and she
Crazy.
understood her body and
Yeah.
the muscles and everything that it took, the hard work, it just clicked and now she won't stop.
Yep.
And that's what we're here to send a message that it might not be season two,
Yep.
might not even be season three, but somewhere along the line, it's going to click here. If you put that work in and you add all that up, it's going to click and you're just going to get it one after another after another. So if you're in that state right now where you're second guessing yourself, if this is for you, I just can't get it, trust me, you can get it.
Yep.
But do not skip the drills.
No.
Don't go from A to Z, right?
Yes.
Don't just say, okay, I'm just going to do it. Put in the work to figure out your body, the muscles, the stretching,
Mm.
the conditioning, all of those little aspects, how it mentally, prepare mentally for it, break all of it down. And when you're stuck on a plateau for weeks and weeks and weeks, go back to the beginning, see what's
Break it
wrong,
down.
break it down by a simple handstand. Think about what you're doing in that handstand. Are you aligning all your joints? Is your hips up? Or pushing forward or your toes pointing, your ankles. Those little tiny things, I promise, are going to help you out.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about all those things in the upcoming episodes. We wanted to let you guys know who we are, where we came from, what we're about, and we're going to start with NH here. So
Yes.
reach out to us and don't forget to comment. I don't care if it's bad. If you say,
Yes.
"Hey guys, your hair's messed up in that," and I'm gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, the sign's crooked, right? The lighting's
Yes.
off, the sound is off. You guys don't talk clear enough. I don't know." Right?
Yeah,
Anything that's
criticize
like,
it so
I
we
don't
can work
care. I
on
need to
it.
fix it.
Yep.
If you like it, let us know. Topics. If you got a topic, let us know. Hey, and I'll put a shout out to you and say, hey, this individual, blah blah blah, said, want to talk about this. This is
Yep.
our topic for the day. So
Yep.
we're doing that, and we're coming at you every single week. So be prepared. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the little bell so that you can get alerts when we post new posts.
Yep.
Reach out. We're going to be on Spotify, so if you're not available to watch it, you can still listen to it anywhere you're at, in the gym, in your car, at home, wherever you're at. But we're going to come to you, and we're coming on more platforms. Soon we'll have Apple Podcasts
Yep.
and we'll have Google Podcasts. I just got to work on that. So we're coming to you with all this stuff. Let us know. And yeah, let's get better.
Yes.
1% better at a time. Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next
Next
time.
time we can
Woo!
do our ugly high
Oh
five.
yeah, there we go. We'll tell you the story about the. We'll tell you about the story about our high fives. Check it out later. Okay.
Later next episode.